Hello learners, welcome to Success Industrial Training Solutions. In this module 1 of the good documentation practices, which is also known as the GDP, we will learn the basics of the documentation used in the pharmaceutical industries. Good documentation is the backbone of the GMP and ensures that product quality and patient safety in the pharmaceutical industry. In this module, we are going to cover the different topics. First, we will discuss the what is the documentation. Second, we will discuss the purpose of the documentation. Third, we will discuss the characteristics of the good documentation. Next, types of the documentation. Next, we will discuss the importance in the daily operations and real life examples and a final summary where we are going to cover each and every part of the introduction to the good documentation practices. So let's begin. First, we will discuss what is the documentation. Documentation means writing down all the activities in the clear and accurate way. It explains what was the done, how it was done, when it was done, who did it, and what result was obtained after completion of the particular documentation. And in simple words, documentation is a written proof that the work was performed correctly and as per the procedure given in the standard operating procedure. Next, we will cover the purpose of the documentation, why documentation is required. So documentation serves many important purposes. The first purpose is evidence of the compliance. It shows that the work was done according to the GMP and approved SOP. Without documentation, there is no proof that the work was performed correctly. And the second purpose is traceability. Documentation helps us track every step of the manufacturing, testing, and storage, and there is any problem in the product, record helps us to find the root cause of that particular problem. Next, we will discuss second purpose, and there is a documentation also ensures the consistency. When proper documentation is followed, every operator performs the same steps in the same way. This reduces the mistakes and variations in the documentation, and that is why documentation is also called as the communication tool, because SOP tell employees how to perform the job and a batch manufacturing record tells the sequence of the steps and required parameters during the manufacturing process. Coming to the next slide, another major purpose of the documentation is that it is a legal and regulatory requirement. Agencies like WHO GMP, US FDA, MHRA, and EU GMP requires complete and accurate documentation practices. And if documentation is incomplete or missing, it can result in audit findings, warning letters, production stoppages, or even recall of the products. In the third topic, we are going to discuss about the characteristics of the good documentation practices. So it should be clear and easy to understand. It must be accurate without mistakes. It should be complete with all required information filled in, and handwriting must be legible and readable. Records must be permanent, written in the ink and not using the pencil. Entries must be timely written at the time when the activity occurs. And finally, the document must be approved and signed by an authorized person, and these characteristics follow the Alcoa Plus principles. Alcoa Plus principles will be discussed in upcoming modules. In this topic, we are going to cover the components of the documentation, where first one we are going to discuss static components. There are major two types of the components used in the pharma industry. First is the static and second is the dynamic. So first we are going to discuss the static documents and later we will cover dynamic documents. Static documents are the instructional documents that tells us how to perform the particular task. Example including SOP, specifications, protocols, and validation plans. These documents do not change on the daily basis. And next one is the dynamic documents. The second type, this is also we call as the dynamic documents, and these documents records what was actually done in the real time during performance of the activity. Example includes batch manufacturing record, logbooks, test data sheets, and equipment usage logs. Both static and dynamic documents are essential to maintain the GMP compliance in the pharmaceutical industry. In the fifth topic, we are going to cover the importance of the documentation in the daily operations. So every department in the pharmaceutical industry depend on the documentation, because without documentation you cannot do any single activity in the pharma industry. In production, documentation covers the raw material usage, batch processing steps, yields and cleaning activities. And in quality control, it covers the test results, sample handlings and calibration data. In quality assurance, documentation is reviewed, approved and controlled to ensure the compliance with the good manufacturing practices. Next, in the warehouse or stores, documentation includes goods receipt notes, storage conditions, and dispensing details. And in engineering and maintenance department, documentation includes preventive maintenance, equipment calibrations, and breakdown reports. In packaging, documentation covers line clearance, coding details, reconciliation of the printed material, which is we also called as the printed packing materials. Without documentation, coordination becomes difficult and quality cannot be assured. So documentation plays an important role in the pharmaceutical industry. Importance of the documentation in the next slide, we will discuss the if it is not documented, it is not done. So there is a very important GMP rule that every employee must follow. Even if you perform the work correctly and if you do not record it, there is no evidence and it cannot be checked, reviewed, audited, or approved. For example, if you monitor the temperature but do not record, then it will be treated as if temperature was not monitored. Coming to the real life examples, let us look at the real life example. An operator performs equipment cleaning but forgot it right in the logbook. And quality assurance will consider the cleaning was incomplete and the equipment cannot be used for the next batch. Production will be delayed and investigation may be required. And this shows how a simple missed entry can cause the serious issue and will stop the production activities for the longer time to clear the issue and to come up to completion of the investigation. In the summary, documentation is the backbone of the GMP and pharmaceutical industry. It provides proof that the work was done correctly, ensure consistency, support legal requirements, and protects the patient safety in the industry. And good documentation practices helps to maintain the quality, avoid the errors, and ensure the compliance with regulations.